Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from another double up game, played together with JDP El Grillo, and this is going to be a double feature. I'm actually going to take footage from both my perspective and Grillo's perspective in this game. Grillo has also been recording his games, and I thought it would be fun to show both of our perspectives at different points in time. We're going to flip back and forth a couple different times. Starting out right now is we're going to flip over to Grillo's perspective here. Got the editing down right. There we go. Nice and smooth. We're actually both using the same background for this game, which makes it a little bit easier. One of the things we're going to see in this game is we're going to see two different kind of chase traits that make up team compositions. Grillo is going to end up playing Duelist 8, and I'm going to end up playing a Recon 4 board. So it's going to be fun to watch us put these boards together. We're both going to be playing these setups that are not terribly common. People have been playing more vertical duelists, which is kind of what Grillo ends up playing in this particular game. But it ended up being an entertaining game. We actually end up with quite a few different makeable emblems, a bunch of stuff with spatulas, and this one just, as I said, kind of ended up being a good deal of fun. All right, so we're starting out with Grillo's perspective right now. From what he has here, it looks like he's trying to play a Gadgeteen opener. He has Poppy, he has Lulu. I am a little surprised he didn't pick up the Wukong just because Wukong slots in pretty well alongside Poppy. There he goes, yeah. Did end up picking up the Wukong after all. Unfortunately, did not get a gold drop, so he could pick up both Wukongs, so only able to pick up one of them. And at least at the moment, this really does not look like a duelist board, but that is sometimes the case in Teamfight Tactics. You start out thinking you're going to play one thing, and you end up playing a different thing entirely. So really needed one more Gadgeteen, needed an Annie or a Zoe to pop out here. That would have been a great opener, but unfortunately, I believe neither of those units ever actually pops up, and so this will not end up being a Gadgeteen game. Going to go off in a different direction any second now, starting when we get, let's see, what's in this minion orb, and then also based on the first augment. Okay, so what Grillo ends up getting here is he has the Gangplank support augment, get paid. Anytime someone on your team kills an enemy unit, your team has 50% odds to drop a gold coin. So he's going to be playing around that, and he actually is going to run a Supers opener here to start. Actually, accidentally sold the Lee Sin. Whoops. I actually remember when we played this game, that was not intended to sell the Lee Sin. So it's going to be a Supers opener because he actually has all three of the Supers units. Supers is the biggest reroll trait here in set 8. It is a trait that provides a damage boost to the whole team, but then an increasing damage bonus based on how many 3-star units you have on your team. So for Supers 3, all your units do 20% more damage. That's from all sources, so that's applies to magic damage, that applies to physical damage, etc. And then for each 3-star unit that you have on your board, it is another 5%. So, 20% if you have a 3-star unit, it becomes 25%, 2 3-star units, it's 30%, etc. It's been a very popular trait throughout this set. There's been a lot of different reroll setups, and it's something you've been seeing a lot here in the Yuumi meta. People rerolling Yuumi end up playing into Supers. All right, now in that particular fight, Grillo's not especially strong here out of the gate. He has all 1-star units. By the way, there's the Annie that he could have had if he wanted to play Gadgeteen. But he ended up dropping that, as we saw, and he has gone into this setup with Supers for the moment. Now, he has the Gangplank support augment. As I said, every time your team kills a unit, you have 50% odds for that unit to drop 1 gold. It's kind of like the old Pirates trait, honestly, from like set 1 and I think set 3. I think Pirates worked a little bit like that. Now, this is a trait that it can work very well. In particular, if you're strong early in the game, this is a major snowball mechanism. It's kind of a win more augment. Like if your board is already strong enough to be beating the enemy board, you're going to be getting more gold, and then you can use that to push levels or reroll, and it kind of feedbacks in on itself and becomes even stronger. So like if you're already winning, you will win even harder. The problem is if you're not winning fights, if you're not killing units, this augment doesn't actually do anything because it's a pure economic augment. There's no in-combat benefit. So it does not help you kill units, but if you do kill them, then you get that chance for the enemy units to drop gold. So these first couple rights have not gone especially well. The good news is that I think just about every single unit that Grillo has killed has dropped a gold coin thus far. I think he's like 3 for 4 on units killed or something like that. And then this ends up being a fight that gets double reinforced. I came over from my board, and whoever the person we're up against, their partner came over from their board. 2-star Gangplank, that's kind of nice. Obviously, that's going to help. Biggest issue with Gangplank is he is a very weak unit. He's actually one of the worst units in the set, so he's really not a unit you want to be playing through. But he is the only 2-star unit that Grillo has at the moment, so it does make sense to put the Bloodthirster on him. I guess Gangplank does deal magic damage, not physical damage, but here in set 8, of course, the healing items all are Omnivamp, so he can heal off the Bloodthirster, even though it deals magic damage. So what Grillo needs to do if he wants to make money is he has to kill enemy units. So he really wants to be playing from ahead, and he's going to take one of those classic Grillo plays. Grillo likes to play aggressively, likes to play tempo boards. He's going to double level to 5 here, so he's going to be able to put in another unit. And again, the goal here is to be winning fights, killing units. If he can kill enough units, then his augment will kind of pay for this aggressive leveling. Like, look at that. He gets 2 more gold coins there at the end of the fight. So he's actually almost back to 10 gold already. It's a good way to make use of this augment because, as mentioned, does not provide any in-combat benefits, so he needs to get something out of this extra gold. You can see Grillo used to level aggressively, get to level 5 earlier than people would typically get to level 5, play an additional unit, and I think he farmed 3 more gold that round. So he's actually been farming quite a bit of gold off of his Gangplank augment. And that's kind of been the defining feature here early on in this double up game. But it's going to end up not being a supers game. As I said, it's going to end up going more heavily into the duelist trait, just based on how this game will play out. So the supers are going to go by the wayside eventually. And I think this is partly why he gets the 2% Zed, and then also got a Yasuo off Carousel as well. So just like that, he's up to 4 duelists. Grillo was like, you know what? I sold the Lee Sin by accident. Let's just play more duelists here instead. You can actually drop the Malphite. Malphite's not really doing anything yet. You're going to drop the Malphite and just go straight into Kale. So that's going to go up to 5 duelists now. And if he can, because he found the early Zed, all he needs now is a Neela or a Vayne to be playing 6 duelists, which is going to be very strong this early in the game. The way duelists work is this is a reprint trait from earlier sets. I believe this was in set 4. I might be misremembering which set it was, but it's a stacking attack speed trait. Duelists get innately increased movement speed, but the main thing they get is their basic attacks grant bonus attack speed, stacks up to 10 times. And then the more ranks in the duelist trait you have, the faster they stack up that attack speed. Right now at Duelist 4, it's 12% attack speed per stack. Again, there's a cap of 10 stacks, so you can get up to 120% additional attack speed. And then with Duelist 6, it's 20%. Duelist 8, it's 30%. So, excuse me, all of your units attack very fast, and they will stack up more and more attack speed as the fights go on. Now, biggest weakness to a duelist board is it tends to be very weak in terms of frontline. Hitting that 2% odd Zac is actually pretty nice. I would have looked to have played that Zac just for some additional frontline, but Grillo ends up selling it. He actually does not choose to play into Zac. Again, we don't always play things the same way. We do different stuff, but he's going to reject that. And as I said, one of the biggest weaknesses of this setup is that he doesn't have much in the way of frontline. He has like Yasuo and Gangplank and Zed. These are high damage units, but they're very fragile. They really can't tank at all. Instead, opts to play the Senna, which is not a bad call at all, because Senna's going to put Laser Core trait in play. That's going to be a little bit more additional damage for the team. So similar to a Challengers board from back in set 6, this is going to be a high damage but very fragile team comp. One of the ways that people oftentimes will try to work around this if they're going to play Vertical Duelist is they'll try to get like a Locket for their team, because Locket just provides that additional shield at the beginning of fights, and that allows the Duelist to get off their attacks, to start stacking up their attack speed, to basically kill the enemy team before they themselves can be killed in turn. It's like all offense all the time, no defense, although he does have a Sunfire Cape on the Yasuo here. Yasuo is like a semi-tank, I suppose. One weakness of the duelist, heavy vertical duelist board is usually you don't have the hacker trait in for Zed. And that does make Zed a lot weaker because it means he doesn't have backline access. Normally you want Zed to run into the backline where you can start killing more squishy targets. But if people run 6 duelists or 8 duelists, typically that means you don't have hacker trait in. And Zed's kind of stuck hitting the front lines, which tends to be a little bit weaker. Anyway, so this is kind of the setup we've seen so far. And then watch this. This is another thing that's going to define our game. Grillo gets a Tome of Traits, and he's going to look to pull the Tome of Traits. Now, he has 6 traits in play. That means he's only going to have 1 tailored trait out of this emblem. So that means 3 of them are going to be random. 1 of them is going to be one of the traits he has on his board. And he can't pull supers. It's actually not possible to get a supers emblem in this set. So, oof. This was not what he was looking for. He actually hits Ox Force is the tailored one, but he didn't hit Duelist, he didn't hit Laser Core, he didn't hit Hacker, he didn't hit Sure Shot. All of the other ones would have been better. Even Sure Shot, which probably would have been the least useful one, but that still would have been better. But like missing Duelist, missing Laser Core, missing Hacker was really rough. That was very unlucky in terms of the pull there. So he's going to go ahead and just grab the Recon emblem, not because anyone on his team wants Recon, but because I on my team can actually make use of the Recon emblem because I am actually playing a Recon setup. So this is one of the fun things about double up mode is sometimes it's not about what you pick for your team. Sometimes it's about what you pick for the other person's team. There's also 2 Blitzcranks in the store, and as it turns out, I actually had the Blitzcrank carry augment for this game. So I had asked Grillo to look if he could grab any Blitzcranks, and he is in fact going to grab these at like the absolute last second before this round runs out. He's going to pick up these Blitzcranks. So I was like, let's just make an attempt to go for Blitzcrank 3-star. And that would actually be pretty strong for my board if I can manage to put it together. So he's going to grab the 2 Blitzcranks, and then we're going to get our next augment choice, by the way. So coming up for our next augment, we are going to get a prismatic augment, and this is big decision time. What do you want to get as far as your prismatic augment? I would not have I would have thought strongly about Celestial Blessing. That's actually quite good for Duelists because they're high offense, but they're just fragile. So Celestial Blessing 3 would have been pretty nice for this. Level up would not have been bad either. You could just, level aggressively, try to get like to level 9 or level 10. Grillo opts to reroll, and he's going to take the +1 team size. And then he's also going to take the Recon emblem and send it over to me. And now let's cut over to my board. I was able to get a spatula out of the last minion round. So I already have a spatula on my bench when the prismatic augment comes in. So I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and take the Earth's grab bag because that's going to allow me to make a Tactician's Crown. And I'm going to get to play an extra unit. Now, as far as what I have so far, I just have like some tanky frontliners. I have 2-star Renekton, 2-star Blitzcrank. And then I've just got this early Kaisa. So I've got this Kaisa, and then I found a 2-star Ashe, and Ashe has picked up a Last Whisper. So I was trying to figure out what the heck do I do with this board. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make a Rage Blade because I got a component from the Earth's Grab Bag. You get 3 components in addition to the spatula. And then Grillo sent me the Recon emblem. So I was like, all right, well, you know what? Let's just play 4 Recon for right now. And I just decided I would play 4 Recon from this point. So we're going to play Kaisa. We're going to look to play Kaisa plus Vayne, and then we're going to put the Recon emblem on someone else. And one of the best persons to put that on is Misfortune. So I'm going to look to play Recon Misfortune as well. Ashe will become Vayne, and the Senna will become Misfortune, and those are going to be our backline Recon units. Okay, so what does Recon 4 actually do? Let me cover this straight. I think I've talked a little bit about it in other videos, but Recon 4, not something that people play that often because there are not a lot of high-cost Recon units. There are only 4 Recon units. You have Ashe, who's a 1-cost, Ezreal is a 2-cost, and then Kaisa and Vayne, who are 3-cost, but no 4-cost Recon, no 5-cost Recon. So tends to be an early game trait, tends to be kind of a reroll trait, but just not really that heavily played of a trait overall. Recon units innately gain 2 hex attack range, so they get a little bit of additional attack range. They also have this ability where if there's an enemy nearby, Recon units will dash to safety before casting their ability. You will see that sometimes in these fights. If there's somebody near a Recon unit, they will dash and like tumble out of the way. It's kind of like Vayne's tumble from standard League of Legends. And then the final thing is they also get additional crit chance. And this was heavily buffed in the most recent B patch, as I'm recording this video. Recon 2 doesn't really do a whole lot. It's 20% crit chance, but the developers kind of went crazy with Recon 3 and Recon 4. Recon 3 gets 75% crit chance. Recon 4 gets 100% crit chance, and Recon abilities can critically strike. So normally you would not want to play Recon 4 because it's just not worth it to play that many bad units. Like, you don't want to have to play Ashe and Ezreal. They're just bad units for the late game. Maybe if you could 3-star them, but you don't really want to look to play those units. However, with the +1 Recon emblem, I can ditch one of those units. I can ditch the Ashe, and I can play Ezreal, Kaisa, Vayne, and that actually is pretty good. Then they'll all get 100% crit chance, and their abilities will innately crit. So like I would not mind building like a glove on my Kaisa because that would give her Jeweled Gauntlet, that would let her abilities critically strike, but I don't really need to do that here because her abilities already are innately going to crit. So I'm actually pretty happy just leaving that alone and just kind of letting her just have 100% crit chance and her abilities auto-critting naturally. Very, very handy ability to have. So out of the options there, again, I wasn't quite sure what to get. I've already got a Rage Blade, which tends to be one of the most important items on Kai'Sa. And I was like, what else can I? Oh, by the way, here we we have another gift round. We have the 3-5 double up gift round, and I got another spatula. So I was like, oh, do I just want to make a Anima Squad emblem on the Kai'Sa? That would not be bad. That would make it easier to play Anima Squad later on. But I was like, it won't actually put the trait in play yet. It would only give me 2 out of 3 Anima Squad. So I decided I would just wait until I found Vayne. And then when I found Vayne, I would maybe look to do that. Or we'll see what we could get. Maybe we can find something else to do with that rod. Maybe it could be a Death Cap. Maybe it could be Archangel Staff tends to be pretty good on Kai'Sa as well. In the meantime, though, I have gone ahead and made a Spear of Shojin on her. It's not one of her most ideal items, but it's pretty good on her. It also has very good synergy with the Rage Blade. So the way Kai'Sa's ability works is every time she uses her ult, she gets additional attack speed, which will last for the next 10 seconds. So the Rage Blade gives her additional attack speed, and then the Spear of Shojin causes her to gain mana, so she attacks faster, so she gets her ability off faster. And it's like a self-reinforcing synergy between them. So even though Spear Surgeon not amazing on her, it does synergize well with the Rage Blade. I just want her to attack as fast as possible, get her ability off as quickly as possible. And then I have a chance to send Grillo a spatula back as well. So we're just like drowning in spatulas in this game. I have 3 of them, and then Grillo has another one over there. I'm also going to find the Misfortune. So now I can put the Recon emblem on MF. She is going to be a fantastic Recon unit. And now I probably should just make the Anima Squad emblem on the Kai'Sa because that's going to put Anima Squad in play. And I can't remember if I did. I think I decided to wait until the minion round because we were 1 away from a minion round. And I wanted to see what item components would pop out of that potential minion round. So I'm just trying to build my board here. I actually don't really have that much aside from, well, I've got a Tactician's Crown and a Recon emblem. So I guess that qualifies as a lot of stuff. But otherwise, my board is mostly 1-star units. I have the 2-star Renekton, the 2-star Blitzcrank, and then I guess I have 2-star Ashe. But as far as like real units, I mostly have 1-star units. I have not found Vayne yet, which would be very useful to find. I also have kind of like this awkward 3 brawler front line, which is not really what I'm looking for. And Kai'Sa does not have the Star Guardian trait in, which would also be nice to give her some additional mana generation. One thing that is nice, though, is having that Misfortune in there. Again, has a 100% crit chance, so she does not need Jeweled Gauntlet. She's going to crit every single auto attack anyway. And she's got that Recon trait, so I guess she can tumble out of danger. It actually looks really weird when this happens in the fights, because you don't expect Misfortune to be tumbling around. But she does have that option as well. So it was a super successful stage 3. We actually had kind of a rocky stage 2 that both of us were kind of like alternating wins and losses, which is not really what you want to do. But we had a great stage 3. We both were able to go on big win streaks. And I was able to get closer to what I want my board to be. By now, I'm like, yes, it's definitely going to be a 4 Recon board. And then we're going to look to try to play into Kai'Sa and Vayne, although, I have not found any Vaynes yet. So looks like it's going to be more Kai'Sa and Misfortune here overall. So we're actually getting a number of items out of this minion round. So I'm going to go ahead and sell some of these units. Let's go to level 7. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the Rel. I was trying to get Star Guardian in play. I'm also trying to figure out what do I do with these items here. And I think I go ahead and do make the Anima Squad emblem. So, yeah, we'll do that just to get that in play. We want to start stacking up Fame, although it is a little bit late for that. I'm going to go ahead and make the Bramble Vest because I already have a Gargoyle Stoneplate. I don't need double Gargoyle Stoneplate. And then I put this Sword on Ashe. The instant I put the Sword on Ashe, I was like, oh, that was a mistake. I needed to make Spear of Shojin for Misfortune so she'll cast faster. But it was like the instant that I put the Sword on Ashe, I immediately was like, oh no, I should have put that on Misfortune and made the Spear of Shojin. So I'm going to transfer that over to MF, but now I need to find Vayne before I can do that transfer. So that was kind of sloppy of me to do that right there. Whoops, so that item will go over to Misfortune, but I need to find Vayne before that can happen. And I still have not found any Vaynes yet, but I'm going to keep pushing to level 8 for the time being. I was just able to beat the person who's playing Nasus with the Stacks on Stacks Nasus augment. All right, next up, for our last augment, we're going to have a silver augment. I am just going to grab Second Wind here, which is not going to be all that interesting. It's not Defender Heart, it's not Cybernetic Shell. I'm going to go ahead and take Second Wind. They've actually nerfed the Cybernetics to the point where they're not that good anymore. So I'm going to take Second Wind, and then I'm going to go ahead and pop over to Grillo's board, whoop, so you can see what he's going to pick. He's actually got some good options here. I would strongly consider the Knife's Edge. He actually already has 8 Duelists in, but instead he's going to opt to take the Duelist Heart so that he can run 8 Duelists at level 7. right now. Remember, he has the +1 team size from his prismatic augment, so he's actually only level 7, but he has 8 units in. So he opts to take the Duelist Heart. That allows him to cut Kale, who is not a very good unit, let's be honest. 1-cost unit, not very good. It's going to allow him to cut the Kale from his comp and run Zoe instead, and that actually is going to allow him to get the hacker trait in for Zed. He also has high rolled Zed to a crazy degree. Grillo hit 1 Zed on, I think it was like stage 2-5 or something, and he hit another Zed very early at the beginning of stage 3, and then now he managed to hit another Zed here on 4-2. Remember, he is only level 7. He's not actually level 8 here. But that means he now has a 2-star Zed and has quite good items on this Zed. Not like perfectly ideal. You'd love to have, like, the Edge of Night is great on him. And then either the Bloodthirster or the Hand of Justice is very good. By the way, look at all this gold he's printing. He still has Gangplank on the board, so he's still printing more gold, which is pretty hilarious. But you probably don't want Bloodthirster and Hand of Justice. You probably want one or the other between those two items. Hurricane is actually super nice on Zed because then he can hit more than one target at a time. And I also like Last Whisper. I think Last Whisper is one of his better items too. So good itemization on Zed. Not like insane, but definitely good itemization on the Zed. As far as what Grillo wanted to do, he decided he would stay here at level 7 and just slow roll on level 7 and see if he could first 2-star his units, because he actually does not have that many 2-stars on his board yet. But he decided he would stay here and first look to 2-star and then eventually see if he could 3-star some of these units, because he actually does have pretty good odds to. He has mostly 2 and 3 cost units on his board. If you look at what he has there, he's playing Yasuo as a 2-cost. He's playing Fiora, who's a 2-cost. Then he has Neela, who's a 3-cost. He has the Vayne, who's a 3-cost. He has the Senna, who's a 3-cost, and the Zoe, who's a 3-cost. So his unit team is mostly made up of 2 and 3-cost units. So it actually does make sense to sit here at level 7. Remember, he does have 8 units in because he has +1 unit from his augment. So it actually does make sense to just stay here at level 7 where the odds are really good to hit these units and just try to 3-star some of them. Unfortunately, he does lose to the 3-star Nasus there, but like I said, it does make sense, the strategy that he's running. Too bad, though, he ended up losing that round. All right, well, we're going to have another carousel here. I actually ended up losing that round as well. So we had been on big winning streaks, but we kind of had those win streaks snapped here at the beginning of stage 4. And that's because both of us are trying to strengthen our board. We're kind of somewhat in the process of transitioning our boards, although I think Grillo is closer to having a finished board than I am. I was going to go level 8 after this carousel and roll it down. So let's see. I am going to be up to pick first. I'm going to go ahead and grab that Sejuani with a cloak. I'm going to build a little more frontline. And then let's see, Grillo is, he was going for the Syndra, but does not manage to get that. I think he wanted, I'm not exactly sure what he was looking to make here. I'm just going to take like a generic frontline item here. And then just going to continue trying to make progress towards 3-starring these units. Going to stay around 50 gold or so and just try to make some more progress there. Now, as far as Duelist trait, remember I said it's the stacking attack speed trait. Grillo has Duelist 8 in, so he gets 30 attack speed per stack. So his units can get up to 300% attack speed if they attack 10 times in the fight. Because he has so much attack speed, he really does not need to build bow-based item. Like, he does not need a Rage Blade. His units get enough attack speed anyway. The biggest thing that he needs right now is he needs a little bit more frontline in his comp. His frontline is extremely squishy. You might notice that his frontline is just kind of dying immediately in these fights, and they don't really get a chance to stack up much attack speed. So he would definitely benefit from being able to put some kind of tank unit up there on the front line. I wonder if it would make sense to go to level 8 and just like shove a Zac or something up there. I don't know. He has opted to stay at level 7 because he's trying to 3-star some of these units. But what he really needs is just, as I said, to get a little bit more frontline so he can stick in these fights a little bit longer. One thing he can do, though, as I mentioned, is to make a unit with a locket. And people have been using Neela for that a fair bit. People have been playing a vertical duelist. So he does now have a 2-star Neela. So Neela's not a bad unit just because she's a little bit tankier in terms of how her ability works. She gets that extra healing on her ability. Let me just read her ability description because I'm talking about Neela here. I am trying to find her on the cheat sheet. All right, here we go. Neela, Duelist Star Guardian. Neela whirls her whip blade, deals magic damage to nearby enemies while healing herself and allies health over 1 second. She finishes with a burst that deals magic damage. So she heals, damages nearby enemies, and has a heal. And people can, as I said, she just seems to be a little bit tankier than some of the other Duelist units, even though she is not an especially tanky unit, but she has that heal. I guess that's how she kind of gets a little bit of additional tankiness, is she produces that heal. By the way, look at the gold from this round. That's like 7 gold from that round. I think every single unit that Grillo killed dropped a gold coin. I mean, yes, it is nice when Gangplank is printing gold like that. So Grillo is using this to fuel his rerolling as opposed to, as I said, looking to level and get up to like level 8 or level 9. But a duelist board doesn't really benefit much from going to like level 9. There are no 5+ duelists in this set. Now, he could have, of course, the other option would be go to level 9 and try to find Mordekaiser and make Mordekaiser a duelist instead of the Senna. But as I said, there's just not a lot of, there are no 5+ duelists naturally. So there's not a ton of need to go to like level 9 and find legendary units. All right. Anyway, though, Grillo's board is mostly set at this point. As I said, he's largely just going to play the units that he has in on his board right now, and he's going to look to try to 3-star them. He actually is making good progress. He's on 7 Fioras. I think he's on 6 Veins. So he is making progress there. But because his board is mostly set, I'm going to swap back over to my perspective right now. Whoop! There we go, because I actually have some interesting stuff that's going on. All right, well, since last time, my board has not really changed in any meaningful way. I finally got the 2-star Kaisa. But now I'm just rolling it down and trying to see what I can find. I found some Zacs here. Finally going to 2-star the Edgewell. I still only have 1 Vein, but look what I managed to get there. I found 2 Urgots. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. Can I get Urgot on the board? Let's put this. Did we put the Zac in? Let's put the Urgot in for right now. I'm just playing the Rel and the Echo for Star Guardian. I'll go ahead and make Misfortune, put a Hand of Justice on her, and then I hit the Zac 2-star like right as the round is about to time out. So I was like, oh, well, I'm definitely going to play that unit. Even if I have to lose Star Guardian, I can drop the Rel. She's just providing Star Guardian trait. I mean, that's nice to get the extra mana generation on my Kaisa, but I think a 2-star Echo is way better than a 1-star Rel at this stage of the game. So anyway, I'm up against the stacks on stacks Nasus. It looks like I don't have quite enough to win this, especially not with our partner reinforcing. And I definitely need my board to get stronger here. But we do have, my board's actually going to increase in strength quite a bit right here. So a couple things happened. This is a gift round. And one of the options was a champion duplicator. So I was like, Grillo, send me the champion duplicator, please. So he's going to send that to me. Remember, I have 2 out of 3 Urgots. So I was like, let's first get that Zac on the board. So we'll use Zac for more frontline. We're going to champion duplicator the Urgot. So now I've got a 2-star Urgot. That's pretty good. And I have 2 out of 3 misfortunes. So I asked him if he could send me one of the misfortunes he had on the bench. Grillo has been holding misfortunes for me. So he's going to go ahead and send that over. And that's going to be a misfortune 2-star for me. And so, yeah, we actually got quite a bit stronger. We got Urgot 2-star, we got Zac 2-star, and we got Misfortune 2-star all on the board that round. So my board is still kind of weird. 4 Recon, 3 Anima Squad, 2 Brawler. I'm trying to build the Sejuani into like another frontline tank, and then I just have Echo in the board, but just like kind of randomly. The Echo could probably be swapped around there because we're not hitting any of his traits. We don't have Aegis or Prankster or Star Guardian in. He was kind of on the board because I had Star Guardian trait in, but now there's a lot less reason to be playing him. So we'll do it to do some reconfiguring. But it's like, hey, my board has actually got a lot stronger. Kaisa and Misfortune together are actually proving to be pretty strong carries here. So I'm happy with how my board's coming together. Still not quite there yet. I still have some units that are not quite have not quite fit the team comp. I still have 1-star Vayne. I had like this random Last Whisper on Vayne because I was planning to be playing into Vayne, but the reason why I'm not seeing Vaynes, here I decided I'm going to sell the Kaisa because I don't think I'm going to hit 3-star Kaisa. And I'll just go ahead and look to lock for Echo if I can't hit that. I was thinking I was going to play into Vayne, but it turns out that Vayne is super contested in this lobby. Remember, Grillo is playing Vayne, so he has 6 Vaynes over on his board, and there's someone else who actually has like 7 or 8 Vaynes as well. So Vayne is being played on like 3 different boards in this game, so that's why I can't find this unit, because everyone is playing Vayne for whatever reason. All right, now the other thing I do want to talk about is my Blitzcrank. Oh, and I'm going to get sent over. Oh, Grillo just sends me a new. So he had the Tome of Traits plus Spatula option, and he wasn't able to find anything useful in the Tome of Traits. So he ended up grabbing Anima Squad, and now he has sent that over to me because he didn't really have any use for it, and he couldn't find something that was useful. So I was like, oh, cool. So he just sends me a random Nunu to get the Anima Squad emblem over to me. So I was like, okay, let's just put this on Urgot. I was like, now we have Anima Squad Urgot. That feels pretty good. He's going to get the extra ability power. He's going to get the extra AD. And he's also going to get the additional health as I can stack up more fame in these fights. Now, this fight looks like I'm going to come up a little bit short in this one, but we're getting there. We're getting there. It is down to 3 teams in the lobby, and the team that we were just hit was the strongest team out of the remaining options. All right, so I'm going to be second pick off the carousel here. I actually still do not have a heal cut in my team, so I believe I end up going for the Sunfire Cape, if I remember this correctly. Because, yeah, I don't have any anti-heal, and that's like the one thing I'm missing. There is somebody who's playing heavily into mascots. I think that's, don't know if that's the board I just hit, but someone's playing heavily into mascots. And I need to get the Sunfire, I need to get a heal cut for my front line, so I can just stuff that on, I guess on the Zach or on the Sejuani. I'll put that on one of these units here. All right. Anyway, so and I decided I was going to sell the Sedge so I could transfer these items over to Zach. Okay. Now the other unit I do want to talk about is I did want to cover the Blitzcrank. Why do I have all my tank items on a Blitzcrank here? It's just like kind of a random unit to put your tank items on. Why are you running them on this one cost unit? Well, as I said, the answer to that is because I have the Blitzcrank carry augment, and this actually turns him into an incredible tank. I'll just read this for you. It's called Dynamic Defenses. Gain a Gargoyle Stoneplate and a Blitzcrank. When he casts his ability, its duration increased by 2 seconds per enemy unit targeting him. So for every enemy unit that targets Blitzcrank, the duration of his ability goes up by 2 seconds. Well, what is his ability? Well, I'll go ahead and read that for you as well. Blitzcrank is the most pure tank in this set. Basically does no damage at all, but is a very, very good tank, especially if you can 3-star him. So his ability is Static Defense, costs 90 mana. Blitzcrank creates an empowered field around him, reducing all damage taken for 4 seconds. At 2-star, it's 55% damage reduction. At 3-star, 65% damage reduction. So normally it lasts for 4 seconds. It's kind of like, oh, ho-hum, 4 seconds. But with his carry augment, it lasts for an additional 2 seconds per unit targeting him. And haha, there's the 3-star Blitzcrank. So for every unit that focuses him in the fight, his static field, or whatever it's called, it's going to last for another 2 seconds. So let's say he's being targeted by like 4 units. Well, his ability is not going to last for 4 seconds. It's going to last for 10 seconds. Wait, did I do that right? No, 12 seconds. If 4 units target him, it actually lasts for 12 seconds. 65% reduced damage. Yeah, on a tank that's a 3-star tank with Brawler in. That unit actually is super tanky. So, like, watch his ability. You can actually watch this in the fights. When his ability goes off, he just does not take damage at all. He actually ate an entire Misfortune ult in that fight. And because his ability was running, he took, like, no damage whatsoever. 65% reduced damage. Plus, I have some very good tank on him as well. So, like, the Blitz is now a very, very good unit. He is not, like, a joke unit at all. He's, like, in a core unit on my board. By the way, peeking it on Grillo here, he's 3-starred the Fiora. He has 8 Zoes and he has 8 Neelas. So I grabbed the Zoe here. I was like, if you don't hit the Zoe, I can send it over. But Grillo's going to roll a little bit after this minion round to see if he can hit. So I also need to grab Neelas now as well because he's getting very close to 3-starring that. Now, as far as my board, I need to do a little bit more tweaking here on my board. I'm at 4 Anima Squad, so I'm a little bit off in terms of Anima Squad. I was planning on playing into Sejuani, but at this point I was like, wait, I'm 1 off 5 Anima Squad. I should just replace the Sejuani with a Riven, and then I'll have 5 Anima Squad in, and I'll still have the 2 Brawler benefit. Now, I do lose a little crowd control there, but that's definitely worth it. And then look at this. I can take another defensive one. I can take the Gargoyle Stoneplate and put that on Zach. So I was like, all right, there's another Zoe. So I was like, do you want me to send this? But I believe Grillo hits the 3-star Zoe on his own without me needing to send this. There's another Riven. And I was like, okay, let's put the Gargoyle Stoneplate. And then Riven will just go in as a trait bot for 5 Anima Squad. So yeah, there we go. And I'm just rolling. And boom, there we are. There's 2-star Riven. So just able to put that 2-star unit right back in play again. And yeah, there we go. So my board is basically complete now. 5 Anima Squad, 4 Recon. I have double Anima Squad emblems, and I have a Tactician's Crown. So this is like a WTF game in terms of the stuff I'm putting in. This has been the strongest board that we've been hitting in the game. It's this mascot board with a 3-star Lulu, not a 3-star Yumi. But watch the Misfortune ult right here. She's going to punch through the targeting dummy, and boom, just kills the Lulu instantly. That is someone who had the Lulu carry augment, which is also quite strong. And then they also have a 3-star Yumi, too, in the backlines. But my front line is held up. Look at Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank does not die with that carry augment and with all these items on him. Yeah, the Blitz is holding strong. 3-star Blitzcrank. Who would have known? So at this point, there's not really a whole lot for me to roll for. We are down to one other team with 1 HP. And boom, Grillo's going to hit the 3-star Neela. So now his team has frontline. He's got a Neela with a Locket who's 3-starred. She's going to put that big health shield on all of the other units that are in the front line there. So we're both quite happy with the teams that we've made. Look at this team. This other team has 7 Anima Squad in and actually has 8 Veins, but fortunately they have not hit the 3-star Vayne. Also, somewhat hilariously, I still have 1 Vayne. I found 1 Vayne the entire game. It's actually kind of funny. I'm really glad I found the 1 Vayne, or I would not have been able to put my team together. Here, I'm able to dodge the double shrouds on my Misfortune, who is the most important unit not to get shrouded. Again, both teams, we're playing very similar teams here, but I've got the Urgot CC. I have a tankier front line with the Blitzcrank, who just does not die, together with the Zac and the Riven. And yeah, that's going to be enough. Grillo did lose his round, but I'm able to punch through and end the round and knock that person out of the lobby before their partner was able to reinforce. So a good game, right? Fun, entertaining game. I'm glad I could kind of show both sides of the matchup. I won't do this for every double up game because it is a slight pain to edit it together, but I wanted to show the 8 Duelist board, which I think is a lot of fun to play. I think Grillo handled it well. He did not play it the way I would have played it, but he played it in a way that made total sense. He did hit a lot of 3 stars. He hit 3 stars. I said 3-star Neela, Zoe, and Fiora. He was getting, I guess he wasn't that close to the Kai'Sa and Vayne because other people were playing them, but he handled it well, and he sent me a ton of emblems and the Tactician's Crown, so that was a lot of fun too. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, hope you guys are having a good week. Take care, folks.